Walking Stick Cabbage, the giant abomination of the Channel Islands. Reaching heights of over 10 feet, this monstrous variety develops a massive woody stalk with only a small cluster of cabbage leaves at the very top. For centuries, farmers on the island of Jersey grew these giants, not just for animal feed, but for their structural timber. The stalks were dried, stripped of their bark, and varnished to create incredibly strong, lightweight walking sticks sold to wealthy tourists. It remains a bizarre testament to human ingenuity, where a simple dinner vegetable was successfully engineered into a functional weapon and fashion accessory. Napa Cabbage, the foundation of survival in East Asia. Unlike its round Western cousins, this barrel-shaped leaf giant was bred in China over 1,000 years ago. Its high water content and delicate crunch made it the perfect canvas for preservation. In ancient Korea, the arrival of winter triggered gimjang, a massive, coordinated effort to ferment millions of tons of Napa cabbage with chili and garlic into kimchi. Buried underground in massive clay pots to withstand the sub-zero winters, this fermented weapon kept entire populations alive through devastating famines and wartime sieges. Brussels sprouts. The engineered bitter balm, cultivated heavily in 13th century Belgium, these miniature cabbage heads were historically loathed by children and adults alike due to glucosinolates, compounds that release a harsh, sulfurous odor when overcooked. For centuries, eating them was a test of endurance. That changed in the late 1990s, when Dutch scientists identified the specific chemical lines causing the extreme bitterness. Through intense crossbreeding, they secretly engineered a new, sweeter strain, completely changing the global market and erasing a centuries-old flavor profile overnight. Wild cabbage. Long before it became a staple of human survival, Brassica oleracea was a bitter, toxic weed clinging to the limestone cliffs of the Atlantic coast. Driven by harsh sea winds and nutrient-poor soil, this primordial mother evolved a brutal defense mechanism, a heavy dose of mustard oils designed to repel predators. Yet thousands of years ago, ancient foragers risked the bitter sting to harvest it. Through selective breeding, this single chaotic weed would be genetically twisted by human hands into completely different forms, changing the course of global agriculture forever. Green cabbage, the undisputed engine of human empires. In ancient Rome, it was treated not just as food, but as a universal panacea. Pliny the Elder claimed it could cure everything from systemic plagues to battlefield wounds. Packed with vitamin C, green cabbage became the ultimate biological shield against scurvy during brutal European winters and grueling sea voyages. Its tight, dense leaves are a masterclass in natural preservation, designed to lock in moisture and resist freezing temperatures that would rot other crops into black sludge.
I will give you 3. Agreed. 4 denarii for the garrison.
Red cabbage, a living chemical indicator masquerading as a vegetable. The deep purple hues of red cabbage come from a high concentration of anthocyanins, powerful pigments that react violently to pH levels. Cook it in acidic water, and it turns a brilliant, fiery red. Expose it to alkaline soil or baking soda, and it transforms into an eerie, deep blue. In the Middle Ages, alchemists viewed this shape-shifting plant with a mix of reverence and fear, using its juices to test the purity of elements long before modern laboratory equipment existed.
This National Geographic exploration reveals how the alkaline chalky soil of
Savoy Cabbage, the aristocratic survivor. Originating in the alpine regions of France and Italy, this variety traded the smooth, rigid defense of green cabbage for deeply wrinkled, crinkled leaves. These microscopic air pockets act as a thermal blanket, allowing Savoy cabbage to survive temperatures well below freezing without its cellular walls rupturing. Because of its stunning, lace-like appearance, French royalty demanded it feature prominently in palace banquets, transforming a peasant survival tool into a symbol of high-end culinary architecture.
The flavors are exquisite. A toast to His Majesty. To the King.
Bok Choy, one of the oldest cultivated crops in human history. Archaeologists discovered bok choy seeds in Chinese ruins dating back over 5,000 years. Its name literally translates to white vegetable, mirroring its pristine spoon-shaped stalks and dark green canopy. Valued by Ming Dynasty physicians for its cooling properties, it was fed to imperial armies to maintain health and stamina. Its rapid growth cycle allowed farmers to harvest it between major grain seasons, serving as a critical safety net against starvation for millennia.
Wheelbarrow here. We need to clear this row before the rain hits.
Romanesco Cabbage, a terrifying display of cosmic mathematics hidden in nature. Often called Romanesco broccoli, this lime green anomaly is a natural variant of the wild cabbage family, first documented in 16th century Italy. Every single bud on its head is arranged in a perfect logarithmic spiral, forming a flawless fractal that strictly adheres to the Fibonacci sequence. It is a self-similar structure. If you break off a single bud, it looks like a miniature version of the entire cabbage. To this day, its alien geometric perfection makes it look more like a piece of sci-fi hardware than an earthbound vegetable. Sea kale, the forbidden luxury of the Victorian elite. Growing wild on sandy British shorelines, this bizarre cabbage relative requires an extraordinary amount of labor to become edible. 19th century gardeners would cover the growing shoots with heavy, pitch-black clay pots to completely block out the sun. This process, known as blanching, prevents photosynthesis, forcing the plant to grow pale, tender, and intensely sweet instead of bitter and tough. It became so trendy among royalty that wild populations were nearly driven to extinction by nocturnal foragers digging up the coast under the cover of darkness.
A toast, then, to an unforgettable evening.